All right, so we've got this little character that we're making, and in extruding out the faces that represented these piggy tails or dreadlocks or whatever they are, some of the geometry got a little wonky. And there's a lot of different ways to deal with that. One thing, for example, if it's just a very minor issue, is we can just grab and move things around. I could grab these couple of vertices or these edges and maybe try to just grab them and move them to sort of smooth things out. And sometimes when it's a very contained problem, there's nothing wrong with that. That said, though, there are other options. And one option that's worth considering is using Sculpt mode. Now, in Sculpt mode, there's a lot of different tools. They're sort of broken down into categories and color coded and so forth. But for this purpose, I might just use the Smooth tool. And the Smooth tool has a radius that makes it a larger area that you can impact or a smaller area. It has a strength slider so that we can have a really aggressive change, or I'm going to control Z, or a very minute change so that it's a little more subtle so that we're not having a massive impact. So that said, and reminding you that I do have my mesh symmetry turned on X so that what happens on one side of the mesh, depending on what I'm doing, will generally happen on the other side. And what I can do is I can simply move around and smooth things out. And we'll see that that's happening on the other side. And that's really awesome. Now that said, there are some potential problems. If we go back into edit mode, we might see that the geometry actually gets messed up. That it looks to me like I have inadvertently moved some of the geometry inside of itself. So that's a problem. I'm going to control Z a couple of times and see what happens. So there's some other things that we have to consider. The point is these sculpt tools are really neat. These sculpting tools are really cool. There's a lot of neat things that you can do with them, but they can be problematic depending on what you have for geometry. And we will try to deal with that a little bit next so that we can use the sculpt tools and do less damage to what we're making.